Hey guys, I'm gonna wait a moment.
Hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold.
I'm live, honey.
Sorry.
It's okay. Hmm. Hey Lisa. I'm in the living room on the chair, which is more than I got out yesterday. I'm just gonna wait a moment because I had somebody. Hey, Bobby Joe. I had somebody from one of my adrenal groups actually reach out to me, and she might be up here in a little bit, but her name's Terry. She claimed to be no doctor, but I have been pretty much following the doctors. Hey, Missy. I'm feeling a little bit better than I was yesterday. I'm out of bed. I'm actually in the living room on a chair. Hey there. Is it Alicia? So I get to move from the bedroom to from the chair at least. But so a lot of people, you probably know a little bit about me if you don't already. I had a brain tumor about 5 years ago, and before that I was pretty healthy, and the brain tumor was from my pituitary gland. Thanks, sis, for sharing. Hey, Trisha. So the tumor that I had was in my pituitary gland, and that's in my head. And what they did is, after I found out I actually had the tumor because I had, my brother has a brain aneurysm, and so we were told as siblings to go and get checked to make sure that we didn't have, I'm just going to put this up for a second. I'll say hi to everybody in a sec. But to check for brain aneurysm, and I didn't have an aneurysm, so I'm thinking, no big deal. I'm gonna come back, everything's gonna come back, and it's gonna be clear. What happened is I had a tumor, and after usually they find symptoms, and then you get to find the cause. They found the cause, and the symptoms that I was having that I thought were stress were actually not stress, just stress. They were actually from the high amounts of cortisol, which caused Cushing's disease. So I went from having this huge on the edge, when you're stressed out and you just want to, you're like this. Well, I was like that all the time. I was having headaches. My blood pressure was high. Gained a bunch of weight, which I'm actually doing a little bit right now because of the high high steroids that I'm on. But so after almost a year, I had surgery and had the tumor removed. And I thought I was going to be, right back to normal afterwards, a little slow recovery, but that everything was going to be okay. And, they're okay, but, for 38 years or somewhere close to that, I didn't have this issue. And now all of a sudden I have an illness that I'm supposed to learn how to treat and take care of. And when a person with normal cortisol gets into a stress situation or an illness or anything like that, your body produces cortisol on its own, and it helps fight the illness, it helps fight the infection and all that other stuff. I don't have that, so I have to take like 3 times my medication amount in order to survive. Kind of think of it like an insulin to a diabetic sort of. I really had no idea exactly like how bad it was. So off and on since I had my surgery at the end of 2012, I've had pneumonia multiple times. I've been hospitalized for anything. Pretty much when I get sick, it hangs on for a long time before I can get better. So the illness is called adrenal insufficiency. I have adrenal insufficiency. I now have this with my doctor's info on it, which it took me 4 years before I broke down and got this. Not sure it's doing as much good as I'd like it to right now, but it's here in case I'm not with family. My reason I'm actually in Georgia right now is because I haven't been able to get back on track. This last October, I wound up in the hospital. The adrenaline, I was vomiting blood. I was vomiting and then, violently, and then finally there was blood that I was vomiting. And I had gone to the ER, and they gave me everything that I needed except for my cortisol shot. I need an emergency injection. I didn't have the correct one to give myself at home, and I was in no state to do that on my own, and I didn't really have, my daughter really didn't know how to do it. So I go to the ER and I'm counting on them. Give me fluids, give me an IV with my steroid in it, and give me some nausea medication so I can stop vomiting, and so I can actually hold on to some of that emergency, that steroid that I need in my body to be alive. And they did everything but give me my steroid. They wouldn't call my Boston, Massachusetts specialist, my neuroendocrinologist. And at a time like that, you can't think straight. You can't even, I'm surprised I even made it as far as I did, honestly. So 12 hours, they sent me home. They refused to give it to me. And at that point, I had an injection that the pharmacy had given me. It was a separate powder, and a vial was separate sterile water. And at that point, you're supposed to mix so much with the powder. I'm like, I can't even think right now to do anything like that. And I didn't even have the water. I didn't even have the saline at that time. So that was just out of not even possible, because you can't put powder in your body. Thanks, guys. I can see the hearts at least. I can't see the comments right now because my glasses aren't on. But I didn't have any cortisol. Cortisol is like pretty much like minimal. And so October, I go home. 12 hours later, I wind up back in the ER because I have adrenaline crisis. My organs are starting to fail. And the doctor that was there the night before, hi, Terry. I can actually see that, and thank you so much. I look good actually right now than I have in a week because of you, and I'm going to let everybody know what you did for me earlier. But so the doctor that was at the ER that night before in October basically said, oh, I'm so sorry I sent you home. And at that point, I was like, I appreciate you taking responsibility, but you have no idea what you did to me, what I've had to deal with the last 12 hours. So I wound up being in the hospital for almost a week, and I get sent home. I've never been the same. I've never been the same since October. I don't think I've been the same since my surgery, but October, they're like, you take this medication and you wean down, and you have to try to take so much so it lasts throughout your body. So I haven't been on hydrocortisone. I've been on prednisone, which is so bad for your body. Any steroid is bad, but prednisone is not even close to what your body makes as far as cortisol. And so you've got this fake toxic medication and ruining your bones and your muscles, and it's making me sick. It's making me sicker than I was ever thought I would be. And it's crazy. I mean, you count on the doctors to guide you because they're the specialists. They're the ones who know about this illness. You're not. I mean, I never had this before. 38 years, I didn't have this illness. I didn't have adrenal insufficiency, have to worry about, having coma, crisis, and I didn't have to worry about any of this. I think, I have epilepsy that's pretty much gone now, that I've had since I was 16. But never anything like this bad. And so when I came down here, I came down to Georgia with my sister. She opened up her heart and her home so my daughter and I could come here and, try to work together as a family unit and try to, take care of each other, because I wasn't making it on my own. And so when I first got here, I was kind of down for like a week or so because the trip was pretty long and strenuous on me. And then was it like over a week and a half or so, I wound up not feeling good and wound up having to go to the ER. They waited an hour and a half to give me my shot. I was like, I won't save my shot because I don't want to use it. I need it in case I need it, you know? So I'll let them use theirs. Oh, bad mistake. I go there in an hour and a half. They didn't even hook me up to an IV drip or anything. So nauseated. And then finally, you know, they get a hold of my Boston doctor, and she had to talk to them. But it wasn't like immediately, and so that was not safe. So I go home the next day. Stress causes my illness, okay? The next day, we have an electrical fire. And the fire department's here. And it's not safe to be in a house with the breakers on. And it's like so hot here. And instead of leaving, it was getting late. We wind up just shutting the breaker off and toughing it out through the night. The electrician who should have been here the night before doesn't come because he's ticked off by the landlord cursing at him. So the next day, we get somebody to come out to the house, look at the breaker. They just replace the GFI, which shouldn't have tripped anyway because it's a GFI breaker. And so he's told pretty much, oh, you're okay. And then people are like, no, it's not okay if it's still hot after he replaced it and it's still smelling. You're not safe. Like the wiring in the house might be bad. So, okay, that's great. And so we're dealing with that breaker off at the moment and praying that, you know, we stay safe. So on top of that, we're just tagging along. And then, oh yeah, and then the landlord's threatening to evict us if we don't sign a new lease because he's having a property manager take over or something. There's no new lease that you have to sign for something like that. And just ridiculous.
And he
like,
has no grounds to leave.
and yeah, he's just being ridiculous. And so that on top of everything, like possibly trying to figure out somewhere else to live, when I just got here. And then Monday night, my daughter came in, and I don't remember much of this, but I told. So my daughter comes into the room, and she finds me face down on the floor next to my bed. Any parents out there, that's not what you want your child to come in and find, ever. So my sister came in afterwards, and they called 911, and the ambulance came and took me. But if my sister hadn't given me my injection in my thigh at that point, I might not be here talking to you guys right now, because they took me by ambulance. The scariest thing about this whole thing is that bits and pieces when they were in my house and through the ride and stuff, I could hear, but I couldn't respond. I couldn't, I thought I was talking, but I really wasn't. So that was really freaky. When I got to the hospital, you're in an adrenal crisis. My sister had given me the shot, remember I said that, so definitely would have been worse off if she hadn't. I'm like in and out of consciousness, and the people at the ER, my sister and my daughter are in the waiting room, and instead of going and get them and ask them to sign for like things to treat me, consent and all that other stuff, they're trying to get me to consent to treatment during my unconsciousness coming from the ambulance. That I still don't understand. I'm like, my mind is boggled. And the other thing, I'm actually just doing shots right now. I don't have a pump. I was actually, somebody was mentioning that yesterday. It was Terry. But so I in the hospital. It took them an hour and a half after I got off the ambulance into the hospital before they gave me an IV drip. Seriously, like, what is so hard about giving somebody fluids who is dehydrated because they're in adrenal crisis? My cortisol had come back, and it was like 2, and that was after my shot. I'm just like, I'm boggled. My mind is so boggled right now how I'm even here right now, but not my time. And this is my time to help someone else, because somebody, Terry, you know, she reached out to me yesterday and said, what medicine are you on? And, I said, I'm on prednisone when most people are on hydrocortisone, because hydrocortisone is more synthetic to your body. Yes, you have to take it more often, but prednisone is overestimated. Prednisone is I was told, lasts like 18 to 24 hours. But guess what? It lasts 6 to 8 hours of the cortisol part of it. Only lasts 6 to 8 hours. If I'm taking medication at 7 a.m. and I don't take it again until the next day, guess what? I have no cortisol in my body because I am not producing like hardly any. My doctor did have me on like a small dose in the afternoon, but that was barely keeping me going. Still, by the time morning came, I had none. I could barely get up in the morning. So even though I'm on prednisone and not hydrocortisone, I will be changing because I do have a different doctor here that I am in the midst of being seen with. But she asked me, she's like, why are you on prednisone and not hydrocortisone? I was like, I don't know, because that's what my doctor gave me. That's what she said. Maybe I didn't advocate enough for myself. And I kind of feel stupid for that, because I thought I finally figured this whole thing out. I finally thought that I had... You guys give me a second. I gotta drink some water. You finally think that you have everything figured out, and if you need the stress dose, what to do, if you take this, you take that, whatever, how often. But now I feel like I know nothing. So my plan was, they wanted to give me 20 milligrams of prednisone in the morning, which is equivalent to 80 milligrams of hydrocortisone. An emergency dose of hydrocortisone when you're sick is 100 milligrams. So it's weaning down slowly. That is okay. But the way, just take it in the morning and expect for it to last until the next day, is mind-boggling after I spoke with Terry yesterday. So, and I also take thyroid medication because half my pituitary gland was removed when I had my surgery. So what I found out, I was looking at something online, the prednisone, when you're taking thyroid medication, it metabolizes your prednisone faster. So the 6 to 8 hours might be a little less, might be 4 to 6 hours if I'm lucky. So I have a plan right now until I go and I talk to my doctor and try to get the hydrocortisone checked up. But basically what's happened is I have, I'm breaking that 20 milligrams up. So I have a timer set up at 3 a.m., at, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., and 10 p.m. to take medication. And I did that last night. I started at least the 3 a.m. one, and I took like 1 milligram before I went to bed. It was like 10 or 11. And then I took some at 3 a.m. Excuse me. And I woke up this morning and I could actually move. Now, it's not like, oh, I'm healed all of a sudden, and because I still feel like pretty sluggish. And I thought maybe I might have to increase the 10 milligram dose because I was taking 20, but I've had it split up. I actually feel better than I have all week. So that's a plus. I just want you guys to know that if something doesn't feel right, don't feel stupid. I mean, if you have groups, sometimes I'd like to go into the groups of people that have similar things, and sometimes I don't like to go in there because I feel like I want to kind of avoid what I have wrong with me. And if I go into those groups, then I have to deal with it, which has been my problem. But not anymore, because if I would have not faced this and would not have had Terry reach out to me, then I would still probably be in bed, not able to get up, because I would still be taking that stupid dose that the doctor thinks is right for me. And you know what? I'm not saying that doctors are all stupid. I'm just saying you know your body better than your doctor does. And if something's not working and you don't feel right, don't feel stupid to sit there and speak up for yourself. And don't feel stupid to sit there and say, you know what, this isn't working for me. If you find a dose that works for you And I mean, this is kind of trial and error with the medication. When you have this, you learn that. You figure out what works for you. You tell the freaking doctors, this is what works for me. This is what I need. Because obviously, it's been almost 5 years. They don't know what to do for me. They haven't fixed it yet. And something's got to change. So this is it. I'm tired of feeling like crap. I'm tired, you know, and my family, they don't make me feel like a burden. I mean, she's opened her heart and her home to me, and Chrissy's always been there for me. Willie's been great, but I feel like a burden. Like, it sucks when you don't feel well, that you feel like an extra weight on other people. I mean, there's no way to get around that. I feel like that. I hate asking for help. I hate reaching out for people. I hate for people to see me look weak. You know, and for my daughter to find me, like, on the floor, face first, in the ground. I mean, that's freaking scary. And if somebody helping me can help somebody else, then, you know, everything is worth the struggles, even though I feel like crap. You know, if my crappy feeling can help someone else, then, you know, I'm not going to feel like crap forever because now I figured it out. But if I would have known this sooner, maybe I wouldn't have had as many struggles as I've had right now. You know, the other thing that I saw from one of my adrenal groups, I think it was Kelly, I'm almost positive, was the popsicles, the Pedialyte popsicles. So a whole box of the Pedialyte popsicles. Sometimes I don't even need to do like a whole box. I can do like 4 or 5, and I feel better. But if you do a Pedialyte, the popsicles, and you stick them in the fridge, and you drink them that way, the whole box would actually equal a liter, and it would be like the same as an IV fluid. But even if you did some of those throughout the day, I mean, it's more than what you're getting. They don't taste the greatest, but they're pretty good to help you get back on track. I'm gonna show you guys. See if I can turn this camera around real quick. So these are my healing bruises. Of course, when you have high cortisol as well, your body just bruises everywhere. But I'm just gonna take one quick peek here real quick and say hi to you guys and see what this is. Hey Chris, hey Tammy, hey Audrey, thank you for sharing, Missy. Hey Mike. Alright, so hi Lane. Mike, my kidneys. And Kelly, you had to switch to prednisone because you couldn't taper down from a triple dose. Are you still on prednisone, Kelly? And how long have you been on that? Just wondering. Because I've been on that medication for 4.5 years. I think I tried hydrocortisone once, but then they tried to switch me because I was taking a test, and then she's like, oh, it's working, you don't have to switch anymore. But you went to a combo and dropped the hydrocortisone because the hydrocortisone made you feel worse. Huh. See, I'm a little nervous about switching right now because I don't feel so good. What would your advice be, guys who have to deal with this, about like switching medications? Especially Kelly, you went from hydrocortisone to prednisone. I'm thinking hydrocortisone is probably better for me, but I'm just scared of the switch. So, well, hey, Miss Melissa and Heather. I have not looked into a pump. I honestly only knew a couple of things about it recently. Hey, Sherry. So, Kelly, how long does prednisone last for you, and how long do you take it? We'll have to message me later.
What's her last name?
Spearin. Yeah, so now I take my thyroid twice a day. I cut it in half and take my thyroid because I'm not having it mess with my my cortisol. 5 milligrams every 6 hours right now is too. I think, Karen, I think that would keep me awake at night. I mean, that's a possibility. I definitely think I need the stronger dose in the morning. 5 milligrams is equal to, I can't do the math in my head right now, but I have an equation. What's the equivalent to the 5 milligrams of prednisone, to the hydrocortisone? Sea salt under your tongue and drink water. Don't have any licorice root, but helps hold this out. I'll have to do that. Hey, Val. How do they... Thank you, Terry. Okay, 20 milligrams. So that would actually be taking 80. Terry, do you think taking 5... Yeah, that's too much for night. That's what I was thinking. So the 10 in the morning probably works the best. But this is my struggle right now, guys. This is, I just wanted to come up here and let you guys know that, you know, I appreciate all your love, all your support. Just trying to get by right now, so that's where the fundraiser stuff came from. Just trying to, like, all of our food had gone bad with the electrical fire, and of course the landlord is saying, you know, oh, it's not my responsibility to pay for your food, even though if he would have called the electrician that night, that we wouldn't have had bad food. We wouldn't, you know, the house is not safe. It's the landlord's responsibility to keep it safe. That's part of his agreement in his lease. It's not like he told us to pay for, you know, anything that breaks. He's the one that's responsible for that. So now we have, like, meal by meal right now, trying to figure out where we're gonna, you know, the food. The food is bad. I haven't been able to go to the grocery store, of course, so it's kind of like, you know, how are you feeling today? What can you eat today? It's not like, so, yeah, all that stuff. So anyway, thank you guys for your love and support. I really appreciate it. And I am going to go before I use all my energy. But reach out to your resources, guys. People that have similar interests to you are, you know, or similar illnesses, or that have been through something that maybe you're going through, or maybe you've gone through something that you can help someone else. You know, we are what we need. We need each other, because the doctors, yes, they have that background, but they don't understand how we feel. Only we know how we feel. We have to survive, and we're in our skin 24/7, not the doctors. And, you know, I did what I was supposed to do all the other time. I called the doctor and I was like, please guide me and tell me, like, what medication, how much, when, you know, all this other stuff that I'm supposed to do, so that I don't get sick and that I don't wind up back in the hospital. Do you think I like hospitals? I am so sick of hospitals right now. I would be okay if I never saw another hospital in my life. You know, getting poked multiple times. When you're dehydrated, my veins stink anyway, and when I'm dehydrated, like, it's almost impossible. And then, like, the ambulance couldn't even get an IV in me. So that's why it took an hour and a half after I got to the hospital before I even got fluids. And again, you know, like, the ambulance came here and my sister said, they were like, you know, are you sure you want to do that with the shot? When in doubt, give the shot, because if not,
Just leave it.
God knows, you know, can't take any chances. It's better to be a little bit higher than not have enough, because you need that to survive. So I have adrenal insufficiency, which can be deadly when it turns into an adrenal crisis. That is what I have to deal with, and so many other people. This is a rare disease. Not too many people are familiar with how to treat it. Get an app on your phone for like in case of emergency. Get a necklace. You know, don't wait in the waiting room. Put up a big stink. If somebody's in a waiting room, they have this. It's dangerous to wait without your steroid shot. It's dangerous to wait without fluids or nausea medication. You need that. And if you can't fight for yourself, find others that will help advocate for you. And I'm here for anyone who has this or has any questions, and I hope the same for people who have this that might be able to help me get through this, because this is a learning curve for me. And I'm just trying my best every day to survive, and, you know, shouldn't have to, like, every day feel like, you know, every minute's like an hour, and, you know, I just want to feel better. So, thank you guys for everything, and, what's that last? Wow, that's a good dose of Synthoid, Mike. Tabitha, yeah. I have adrenal insufficiency. Also adrenal crisis, which is basically the same thing except for when it gets out of control, when the adrenal insufficiency gets out of control. And I just got out of the hospital with a bout, being transported by ambulance to the hospital. So just got home a couple days ago, and I'm regaining my strength slowly but surely. Haven't been outside in about a week. I haven't been able to get that far yet. But baby steps, and I'll keep you guys updated, okay? You guys take care. Have a blessed Sunday.